Yeah, let me drop him too. Why can't I get in here?
What?
Okay. Yeah. Welcome in. Hope you had a great weekend. And it wasn't really the typical weekend as we hit usually this time on Monday with you. We always appreciate you hanging with us here on the Awesemo Odds channel, the Awesemo Betting Show. Myself, Ben Rasa, Mike Awesemo is producing. We don't ask much here. 3 things. You hit the thumbs up button. You're subscribed, of course. And in the chat, you let us know what you want to lock it up. Your top confidence play tonight, tomorrow night. We've got Tuesday night football, college hoops, bowl season, what have you. We're here for you. But I'm actually pretty excited, as I'm sure a lot of people are. I understand COVID, Ben, has knocked off our train right now as far as like direction, knowing that we normally have Monday Night Football to close down the week. But 4 games in 2 days, I don't care who's out there. It's the NFL. Sign me up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but we are testing the theory of who's out there because
yes, we are.
Particularly with the Browns. I mean, obviously they had to move this game and it didn't really do them a ton of help. They're still going to be playing with guys we've never heard of, and they're down many, many important pieces. And that's just the nature of what we're dealing with. But we have options in the betting market. I'm coming in off a really good week. I'm going to try to keep it going. I was really happy. The start of bowl season was fantastic. NFL was fine yesterday. The Jets held on for me, covered that number. And you're right. We get more options here. We get 2 games to break down. I do want to say, though, the first game, I just got to ask you right off the bat, what do you do with a game that's this dysfunctional with the Browns?
I think I fade everything humanly possible with Cleveland, and I'm totally okay right now going full on Raiders. And look, I get the Raiders have been one of the more disappointing teams. When they lose, they lose. And it's not just Kansas City where, they've let down. This has been pretty bad for them at times, but it's kind of like the NBA play, right? Where if you have 2 teams, one of them is far more decimated, but the other team has kind of top heavy, then you're going to roll with that. And I think in this case, I'm just going to roll with the team that's top heavy, laying 2.5 on the road against Cleveland, who I just can't trust at all, down to their 3rd string quarterback. that would be my favorite play in that game, and maybe even only play on a side or total half, what have you, would just lay the 2.5. I'm under 3 for a team that I genuinely believe, Ben, should come out there and smack the shit out of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, again, it's really, part of the analysis with betting is you got to know where there's opportunities and maybe where you don't have a feel. And I naturally always seem to back Cleveland. It's really hard to tell what Nick Mullins is going to bring to the table. Part of me thinks that there won't be that big of a disruption because Baker wasn't playing that good to begin with. But then the other part of me, and honestly, it dovetails nicely with the question we just had, totally different concept, but like, in a season long, would you rather play the Browns D or the Raiders D? I almost feel like it would be the Raiders D at this point, just because of those question marks with Cleveland. The total is really low. They're missing so many guys on both sides of the ball. I know the Raiders have had their problems, but it does feel like a pretty bad spot for Cleveland, obviously, given the losses.
There is a theme tonight, and we're going to get to it right away because we come out swinging, and I can't wait to hear what you have coming out swinging. So I have 2 separate ways in which I'm going to come out here, and I don't know how many of these hot fire takes you have right away to go, but I figured I'd have one per game. So let me start with this game because I think we're going to move more so into that second game. And don't worry, I got you on that, I promise. First one, anytime, and I think it's worth playing first for both of them because of how crazy and volatile the situation is, but any and first Raiders defensive touchdown, plus 3,300 for first, plus 700 for any. Case Keenum, I get it, is not a wide departure, but we're still talking about a backup quarterback. Plenty of opportunity for him to make a mistake. Plus 3,300 for the first TD, plus 700 for any TD. I'd play both, a quarter of a unit, half a unit on 3,300, full unit, though, on anytime Raiders touchdown defense. I think that is in play here throughout the night for the Raiders.
I certainly think the later the game goes, if the Raiders are winning, you could say, like, I would hope that if you're the Browns, the thought would be you want to win this game and the game would go under. Like, you're going to run the ball with Nick Chubb is one of the few guys who's okay here for a change. If Mullins has to throw the ball 35, 40 times, I don't see any way that the Browns win the game. And I don't see any way that the Raiders don't have at least a couple of opportunities for some big time plays. So I get where you're going there. Last night, the Saints just absolutely have Tampa's number. It's really crazy.
Come on, though, Ben. I mean, a shutout with now, granted, I get it. You lose Evans, you lose Godwin. You've got Gronk, you've got Brate. Like, you've got guys, and then Fournette goes out. But still, it's Tom Brady. You should at least be able to score a touchdown on that passing defense.
No argument there. I didn't bet that game. I went live under I was stunned. But that's regardless here. I think, for the first game, again, there's not a ton of props even out there for the Browns. So, if we get word about Nick Chubb and some of those guys and you want to lean on their line, I definitely like constructing. If you want to take the over with Nick Chubb or like multiple TDs or something, I definitely would throw in the Browns to just win the game. I think that's their one angle, clearly. If they just dominate up front and Nick Chubb has a huge game, they can win this game. I think that the more they pass, the less likely it is that they actually come out ahead here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you're definitely going to get a huge ability now to take advantage of these props with especially Nick Chubb. I mean, that's the big one to look at. All right, why don't you let it fly here on the real game tonight? The real Monday, not the faux Monday night game, the real Monday night game. I see a couple of people. Berger got the Raiders +1 earlier last week. So definitely some, Nick's locking up the Raiders money line, lock it up. Look, I'll lay the 2.5. I don't have any problem there by any means in this case. So some people definitely have Shelton's hammering Chubb. We get it. For Dan right there, Chubb anytime TD, boosted on one book to +140. I have no problem with that, Ben, especially with the boost to +140 odds, even if it's capped.
Oh, definitely. I mean, anytime you're taking advantage of boosts, with someone like that, you're going to be, in an advantageous position. So I get it. I'd be stunned if Cleveland abandons the run if they go down. They just can't. They have to stick with it. I think that's their only out in that game.
Yep.
As we get closer to the game, more info will come out. But right now, one of the advantages, it's not the most fun thing in the world, but one of the big advantages with betting over DFS is you're not forced to do anything with the game. You don't have to deal with this game if you don't want to. And for the most part, I'm not dealing with the first game. I'm dealing with the second game.
I will say, and we'll come back to this before we get out of here. Definitely don't stray away from your gut, you or anybody else out there. This is going to be a shit show. So don't move away from your gut if you think it's going to be a heavy underplay, something like that. I have no problem with that by any means.
I mean, again, it's just very hard. You know, the personnel is so unknown. There's just, it's to such an extreme degree with Cleveland. It really changes everything about the game. I have no idea how their defense will react. I have no idea how Mullins will play. When you have so many unknowns, I think it's probably a decent live betting spot. If you're watching this game and you see, wow, Cleveland's moving the ball at ease, maybe you look to some of these props live, but more often than not, pre-flop here, I don't know how you can confidently get exposure to some of these situations.
All right, brother, let's let it fly here. What are you looking at here to hammer tonight? Long shot, crazy, hot take, what have you?
Yeah, well, let's get into this game. So we got this big one, not the best division in the world with the North, but Minnesota needs this game. 6.5 point road favorites, 45.5 point total. You know, they've got big time weapons. We know that. You've got Justin Jefferson. You've got Dalvin Cook. I mean, this is a team that somehow has lost to the Lions, but they've beat some very impressive teams. I do kind of like the Vikings in the game, but I actually think this sets up for Justin Fields to be pretty busy tonight. He is someone early in the year when he took over, they were really conservative with him. He wasn't throwing the ball a ton. They weren't really letting him go. I think that is now passed. So I'm going to start things, and it's not a hot take by any stretch, by saying I think that Minnesota is going to, like they should, take care of business. But let's look at Justin Fields lately. He's been throwing the ball a lot more. You know, in his last 4 or 5 games, he got hurt against Baltimore. Let's throw that out. 27, 29, 32, and 33 passing attempts. You know, at the beginning, he was 13, 20, 17, and 20. We're getting real volume here. So I think that Justin Fields overs is where I'm going to. I think he's going to have a pretty big night, even in a loss.
Odd Shopper loves it, man. You know, we've got a 78% X win chance of this going over 17.5. In some cases, you'll be able to work a slider out as far as like in a same game parlay. So depending on what else people hear. And look, I think coming into it, another one that I looked at specifically and I played a couple of times was Cole Kmet. I mean, that it just goes hand in hand with Justin Fields over 17.5 receptions. And then also Cole Kmet, you're going to get him at 2.5. Now, granted, if you're looking at a same game parlay, if you're just looking at bumping him up to even 3.5, depending on where you get it, we have him on site projected at 4 receptions. So I think that's insane just to be able to take advantage of your game script there, which is totally backed up by Odd Shopper.
Yeah, we built so on this very channel. First of all, I've been saying this, you know, we got some new viewers in here. Welcome aboard. If you are new, hey, you guys know the drill. And if you don't, if you could really help us, hit that like button, subscribe to that channel, show some love. This morning on the show, me and Matt Kajeski, we actually built the same game parlay for this game, Eytan, and Justin Fields was one of the centerpieces of the parlay. It was actually over on his completions. And again, we both referenced that volume. If he's going to throw the ball 30 plus times, he doesn't need to be that efficient to get there. So I look at it, I'm mostly drawn to Fields there. And then on the other side, again, you've got Dalvin Cook, who is coming off. Let me pull up the numbers so I get this right. 27 carries for 205 and 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers when everyone thought, oh, I wonder if Dalvin Cook can even lift his arm. Apparently, he's just fine. So I expect him to be very, very busy. And then the other part I want to ask you about, Adam Thielen, I thought there was no chance that he was going to play, and he's sporting a legit Q tag. We may very well see him out there tonight.
I agree. And I think that's going to definitely impact just the threat of Adam Thielen is definitely going to impact what we have for Justin Jefferson. The books are right now still putting it out there with a number, at least, that you can get under 96.5. I see that we have for Jefferson. Look, we have him projected 82.5. I think there's a legit chance, 2 out of 3 chances that as we have projected here, he's going to go under. And I think it just makes sense from a couple of standpoints, mainly that with Adam Thielen factoring him in, but also, you know, the element of them being up and probably not needing a humongous game from Justin Jefferson, or it just being a slop fest and Jefferson just not dominating.
Again, you're right in line with what we talked about this morning. I think Justin Jefferson, listen, he's a clear alpha. He's a big time player. We actually put the under on his receiving yards in our prop this morning for that same game parlay. And it's not a volume issue, obviously. Like I said, the guy's got 9 or more targets in 5 straight games. He had 15 targets against Pittsburgh in that wild game. But I do think possibly the return of Thielen, the ground attack, and just the fact that the Bears defense is a pretty solid squad keeps him more in the pedestrian. You know, his over under right now is 96.5. That is a lofty number. You need a big time effort. I mean, that's a lot. And again,
even with Thielen, isn't that a lot? I mean, without Thielen, pardon me, Ben, isn't that a lot?
So sometimes I like to do this because I think that the books sometimes they kind of hedge their bets a little bit. My thought here is, okay, I'm going to take the under on Justin Jefferson receiving yards. If Thielen plays, well, I've created a lot of value because to me, then there's no doubt I've created a really good number. If Thielen sits, I'm okay. I can live with this number even in the worst case scenario. So I feel like it's almost a free roll in the sense, if I get news that breaks my way, I have now stolen some yards and some value. If I didn't, I can live with that. Justin Jefferson is no lock to go over this number, even if Thielen sits.
Yeah, I think you're right there 100%. And it's a great avenue to kind of look at and take some value with the individual with Justin Jefferson. I think on the other element of it for this game specifically, and just looking at it and was able to build this as far as same game, Jefferson under 98.5, Dalvin Cook over 16.5. We love him on site to be a part. And look, I think it's similar where we see this guy needing maybe 2 or 3 grabs in that range of being able to get over that number. 16.5 is not lofty by any means. So to get under 98.5, over 16.5, I threw this in here because I don't think either one of these games are going to be that high scoring. Under 23.5 first half points. That gets me plus 496 back, Ben, for 2 realistic player props. And then all I need is the game script to work out where there's just not a lot of first half scoring.
Yeah, again, I think you have a multitude of options. That's why, again, oddshopper.com, we've got the pre-made parlays and the parlay builder, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We've got all those ROIs and X wins for you because I think you can pick and choose. And I think for me, with Dalvin Cook, I'm very comfortable with that as well. He's had 3 or more targets in 5 straight games. If you're going to give me 3 or more targets, even if he only catches, like last against Pittsburgh, he only caught 1 of his 3 targets. It still went for 17 yards. He's got a 15-yard reception or more in 4 straight games. So when he catches the ball, he does something with it. And you only need 1 or 2 of those to go over this number right off the bat.
All right. So beyond what we've brought up, I think this is again, an opportunity on this later game to take advantage of 2 quarterbacks, more so Fields, but 2 quarterbacks who can make mistakes and are clearly prone to it. I mean, look, I know that narratives don't drive everything, but it is Kirk Cousins in prime time. It's a young Justin Fields who struggles mightily here. So I'm going to go back to that same well and try and take advantage of the defenses here scoring. Any Vikings defensive player at plus 4,000 is first. I'm not going to stay on that, but plus 800, I love for any Vikings defensive player to score, mainly because of the mistake prone that we're going to see with Justin Fields. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're going for it with these defensive touchdowns. I respect it.
I'm building something tonight, but doesn't it make sense? Look, we've got Nick Mullins. I saw Mike Awesemo. We saw Nick Mullins. All right. We know what this guy's capable of. Nick Mullins is the starting quarterback for Cleveland.
That's
Justin Fields just makes mistakes. Like, I think we should look at least, even if it's an outside shot, I think we should at least try to take advantage of it.
I mean, again, I think that Justin Fields, if he does make those mistakes, it makes me even more confident in betting the overs for him. That's a good thing. If he has a big time mistake, because it'll lead to some quick points, hopefully for Minnesota, which is how I want this game to go. I do want to point out one, and actually it goes in nicely with Chad. We're going to talk about an if bet. I can explain that in 1 second. I'm going to do an if statement of my own here. I do think Adam Thielen, of course he impacts some of the, the reception yards and the props, but I also think you can do it with the first touchdown. If Adam Thielen sits, if we get word that he's not going to play, I think that Tyler Conklin at 11-1 for the first touchdown is really good value. Thielen is a red zone target. He's obviously someone that can find the end zone. We know Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook are the favorites, but Tyler Conklin wouldn't be 11-1 if Thielen sat. That's a guy. He's a big guy. He's a tight end. He can be the red zone target tonight. I'm going to bet that if Thielen ends up sitting at that number.
Wow. That is so. How much does Thielen right now change that bet if he's in? Or do you think, like, again, plus 190?
So this is one I truly, it's an if it's an if bet. If Thielen,
it can't be either.
I'm going to wait.
It can't be both.
I'm going to straight wait. Like Justin Jefferson, as I talked about, I'm willing to live with the under no matter what. I will wait till inactives are announced before I bet this. I don't want Tyler Conklin on my card if Thielen is in. If Thielen is out, though, I do think he's one of the guys on limited targets that could be looked at in the red zone. Thielen has 10 touchdowns this year. This is a guy that Cousins consistently looks at when they are by the goal line. If you take that away from this offense, it's not just Cook and Jefferson. There are peripheral guys that will step up there and get opportunities. I think Tyler Conklin is worth it at that type of number. And just to answer Nick, what is an if bet? So you're allowed to structure sometimes on your
Ben's
books.
got a lot of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got if bets and all sorts of things. But if bets really are just simply with your book, you can place two bets, but the second one is dependent on the first. So it's like, okay, this is an if bet. If this team wins, then this other wager is placed. If it loses, the other bet will be voided. It's just a way, like, you know, if you're not around or you're different books have slightly different rules with it, but all it means is that if there's an if bet, there's something that has to happen in order for the other bet to be placed, basically.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more, and this is a long shot. This is a major long. But look, I think we could. It makes sense to me. Okay, it does make sense to me. Punt return is in play here. We see Monday night games. It can be a little wacky. In fact, the Bears returned one last time. All right. So it's D special teams. It's not just defense. It's D special teams. Okay. So this is the same game parlay. That is look, I'm telling you right now, it's a major long shot. Okay.
Yes.
It's a major long shot. It's plus 12,619. So it's plus 12,619. I'm sorry. My wife had an emergency, so I'm stuck with him. And this is why.
You don't have to apologize. He knows that this is an absurd bet. I would react that way too.
All right. You want to hear the bet? All right.
Yeah.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll hold him up here. Okay. So it's like, you know, the old where it's like, you're not going to hit a guy holding a baby. Right. So we'll do that. This is the play. KJ Osborne, anytime touchdown score. Not bad, especially with Thielen out. I think that's in play. He's already at plus 190, right?
That's fair.
Okay. So Minnesota, DST, anytime score. Chicago, DST, anytime score gets me plus 12,619. Again, I'm taking advantage of both D's and or special teams scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, that is worth. If they give you like a, you know, here's a festive gift and you're looking to just YOLO with a free play or something, more power to you. But dear God. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
$5, you know,
yeah, you're gonna
figure that out in the car.
That's the lotto
parlay
ticket type stuff. I've always advocate, you know what, if you build your card and, you know, like if you have like OCD-esque tendencies like me, like I like round numbers. If I'll have like, you know, you have $9 or something in your thing, round it out. No problem with that, doing it. I just can't, for me personally, as Eytan, he hits that bet and then he leaves me. No respect.
No, are you kidding me? I'll be back here to gloat.
Well, you have no camera. I don't know where you've gone. You've gone hidden for me. Yeah,
no,
that's right.
The kid, he just hit the damn mouse.
Excuses.
He just hit the freaking mouse. This kid, I'm telling you. See, you're right. That's the omen right there that I should never have placed the bet. He's shutting the show down.
You know what, though? Again, I think that's all about risk tolerance, all about if you're going to splash, more power to you. I think for me, just building like a pyramid, as I try to talk about on the show a lot, at the top of my pyramid, I've got Justin Fields tonight. I like those overs a lot. I think he's going to have a lot of passing volume. I think the Bears are going to lose, and that helps him. On the other side, there is the Adam Thielen question. I think to me, it's worth shorting Justin Jefferson and probably going over on Dalvin Cook. I've looked at both of those. Tyler Conklin as a splash play against the grain type player. Other than that, for sides and totals for these games, I don't have a ton. I lean to the Vikings, I believe, if you can get an inside 7, but I don't have a strong take on that. I really don't. Feels about right. And as we talked about with the first game, it's just very hard. The Browns are still missing upwards of 20 players, and that's just, you don't see that too often, if ever.
I agree, man. I think when you look at tonight, it's really hard to think just to nail stuff down. And this is a great opportunity to live bet, as we said. Look, I think we have a couple of strong plays, though, here from an individual standpoint. Absolutely. From a player prop, and even from if people want to roll in on that anytime TD train. But yeah, I think tonight is definitely an opportunity to see what's out there. Like, here's the thing, you're still under some sense of belief last night that at some point the Bucs only down 6-0 could get a touchdown, right? Even with all of the shit surrounding Brady, there's still the belief of, all right, it's Tom Brady, it's the Bucs, like they could still get a touchdown against the Saints. You'll know right away, Ben, what Cleveland is. Like if Cleveland is down 17-3 at the half, there's no coming back from that because they're so bad. And I think the same thing with the Bears. Like if Justin Fields makes a couple of mistakes, or anybody on that offense, it's not only Fields, and they find themselves being down. Like, granted, I get that it's Minnesota, their history, etc. But I think for the Bears and for the Browns, from a live betting standpoint, you don't have any worry if these teams are down early. I think that's just going to be their fate.
I mean, I do think it helps. They're both at home, but at the same time, there are limitations, particularly with the Browns. I think that the Bears, they've got Fields. He's a high variance player. The Vikings are very hard to decipher, but the Browns, they just might not have the personnel on the outside to do anything. If they are able to stop Nick Chubb, I don't know what else Cleveland can really do tonight. So I think that's where I'm at with these games mostly, to be honest. I want to see how the player props shake out, but to me, you got a lot less variance and a lot more projectable information on the Bears Vikings game than you do the Raiders Browns game.
Kick is right there with me, man. I'm telling you, I think a lot of people did that. They were down 9-0 with 5. They were down 6-0 for a lot of that game, and people jumped on the opportunity, to live bet them. I think that tonight you're not going to run into that situation. That's why I brought it up in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, listen, live betting, it's not like, everyone, I totally get where you're going there. It doesn't always work out where the team just turns it on, the better team. Clearly Tampa's better than the Saints, but the Saints have their number and a lot of things can happen. So I definitely think there's opportunities there. I do want to say real quick, there is a bowl game at 2:30 today. You've got Tulsa and Old Dominion. Old Dominion's taking a lot of money here. It's still north of a touchdown. I think that's where I'd go. So if you're looking for an appetizer to the appetizer,
I love it.
You could get on the Monarchs, Old Dominion plus 7.5 or 8. I'm okay with that. Not a great bet, to be honest, but if you're just looking for action, that is one I'm good with. But just, I want to circle back.
We have a lot of people in this chat just looking for action.
Oh, I know you do. That's why we love this chat. That's why we love this show. I want to go to the Parlay Builder before we get out of here. I know we got a couple of minutes. I want to go to the Parlay Builder if we can, Eytan.
Yeah. Well, also, real quick, before we go that, can I just ask a quick question here? Because we do have 2 games tomorrow night. We're not going to be back until Thursday because Bloomfield on the chat, I thought I saw, asking if we're doing a show tomorrow. Now, I'll come in. You don't have to pay me. That's fine.
Yeah, we should have some content up. I don't know exactly yet. We're talking about it. But you know what? It is you. You do love your birds. Give us the elevator pitch. Are we going to see Fly Eagles fly tomorrow or what?
Here's what I would do. In a matter of seconds, I would say no matter the circumstance of who's playing for the Philadelphia Eagles or not, especially if Jalen Hurts plays, safest thing you can do here is smash that under and trust that the Eagles are going to move the clock enough to get out. It's a Tuesday. We treat this like Thursday, where you do everything you can to get out with a win. You don't need to flex style points. And Washington is decimated. And I don't think they have enough guys they can rely on consistently to get points. Eagles aren't going to give up a ton of big plays. And they're not going to ask Minshew nor Hurts to really move the ball deep down the field. They'll do what they know, and that's to run the ball and get out of there. The clock's going to move. No matter what, you're safe betting the under.
Under 42, you're good with that?
I'm absolutely good with it. I
Okay.
know it's a low number, but look, again, we're talking about a team that's number one in the league in running. The clock moves, and also Washington doesn't have enough to do much. Even if McLaurin plays, I don't trust the fact that they can get big plays downfield and really put up a lot of points.
Yeah, like the games today, clearly, if you're playing on Tuesday, you've got serious personnel issues for both them, the Seattle and the Rams game. Again, we'll be around. If you have questions on that game, we'll have some content here on the Awesemo Odds channel, but at Shander Show, at Jazzrez DFS. And of course, the easiest thing to do, just go to Odd Shopper and sort by top ROI. That does the work for you. It's going to do those games tomorrow when we get the prop lines.
I might give you a same game parlay to put up on channel if you want for the Eagles. You never know.
We want. We've been doing a lot of same game parlays are incredibly fun and can be very profitable if you structure them the right way. We've seen a lot of success here on the channel with people saying, you know what, I did like what we kind of walked through. Like I like Fields over. And if that happens, to me, it makes Dalvin Cook more likely to have a big game. And if he has a big game, it makes Justin Jefferson less likely to have a big game. And now you've crafted something that's correlated and you're still getting, 4 or 5 to 1 on stuff like that.
I used Odd Shopper yesterday to build that same game parlay with the Packers Ravens game, where it was over Huntley rushing yards at 44.5 combined with the Packers money line. So I took the player prop that I got specifically from Odd Shopper free. I didn't even have to do anything there. Just bang, got that. And I thought, all right, well, I'll take that with the Packers money line. It's a nice little payoff. Nice little plus money payoff.
We got the prop builder up right now with our different categories. If you haven't seen this before, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. On Odd Shopper, you go to Parlay Builder. The site and the projections build the parlays for you based off different themes. So this is the 10X, guaranteeing that if you hit the bet, you're going to get at least 10 to 1 on your money. And it's using a combination of NBA and the NFL games tonight. We've got the Chalk Eater parlay. That is one where it's all favorites. So if you're saying, you know what, I want to be a little conservative tonight, but I want a good shot at cashing the ticket, maybe you go to the Chalk Eater and you're going to get lines that where the lines are all favorites, as you can see on the screen here. Then, Eytan, I know this one, it might as well just be called the Eytan Shander. It's the dog parlay. These are the underdogs. This is where the money can be made if you ever hit one. All underdogs, all plus money. So instead of sorting through the sports books, and I actually did a video on this that'll be on the site very soon. It is so much time to go through the books and find the bets that you want. Here we already did all the work. These are the top props based on the algorithms that fit this criteria. These are the best plus money props on the site, best plus money sides on the site, and boom, you got a parlay right there. You bet it, and then you sit back and you sweat it out with the rest of us. So a great thing, totally free, and it's a ton of fun.
And I'll just add, just because I do this a lot, is take advantage of what you have on the parlay builder here, because as you'll see, when you look at what makes up the component of this, you're still getting not only the odds, the juice, but you're also getting the expected win percentage. So you're getting our X win percentage on each one of these props. That Jakob Poeltl prop of over 7.5 rebounds is not going to be on every one of these, right? It's on the prop party, but it's not on the 10X. It's got a 90. Oh no, pardon me. It is on the 10X, but it may not be on another one here as well. So I'm just giving this as an example, like the dog days, for example, right? That's not going to be on there. You can add one that's not going to kill your return that is at 93%. So if you really like one prop that you want to, or you can mix and match, like we're giving you this all here in front of you as pre-packaged. But I think the beauty of it is that you can take certain ones like, okay, maybe each one has an individual prop bend that's like 85% or higher. You want to take all of those and connect and make those. Like everything you can do here is fantastic from the pre-package, but you also have the information now to build your own on the side.
So yeah, that's something we get a lot in our premium Discord. And obviously it goes without saying, we'd love for you, if you haven't signed up, awesemo.com/join, get inside the ropes. But this is just showing you what the parlays are. We get this question a lot where it's like, I like 4 of them and the 5th one I'm unsure about. Don't use the 5th one. This is not where it's like you have to bet all 5. You could pick your 3 favorite. You could pick your 2 favorite. You could leave one off. It's totally up to you. We're just presenting you with which props we view as the highest expected values based off Alex and the team, the same team that does all the work on the DFS side. We've transitioned it to betting. If you like them, you tail. If you say, you know what, I'm not feeling this tonight, you pass. You look elsewhere. I mean, that's the beauty of this. It just presents you the information. It gives you the tools. Then you make your own decisions. And obviously, the good thing about this, we can all sweat it together. It's not like DFS where you're competing against each other. We can all make the same 10x bet, and we're all on the same team tonight. And that's one of my favorite parts about betting.
We are going to lock it up before we get out of here. I did see Dan on the chat going over first quarter 60.5, that Utah-Charlotte game. That's right up your alley, my friend. I don't even know if my team's going to play tonight. Pretty sure your team's going to play, right?
Yeah, my team, that's they don't call me Jazz Raz for nothing. Obviously, I'm going to back the Jazz as I always do. I can get down with that. That is a lot of points, but the NBA, like the NFL, is obviously there's a lot of guys that I forgot existed that are on the court lately because they're missing so many players in so many spots.
That is true. So keep an eye on what's going on. But again, look, I love the under in the first half. Assuming this game goes, we're dealing with Tatum, who's questionable, Schroeder, who's questionable, and Bede, who's questionable. If this game flies, you can get the under. Odd Shoppers, where I saw it, I just looked it up earlier in the day here, 109.5 is that total you can go under. I would take a long, hard look at both of these teams dealing with both injury and COVID wreaking havoc across the board and them just finding their way. I mean, Philadelphia brought up 3 guys, 2 of them people hadn't even heard of. And this is now the nature of the league where they don't want to lose games. So they're allowing you to sign whoever you want to bump up and fill a roster. That to me spells under.
Fair enough. Yeah. Again, I think with the NBA, only thing I'll say, closer to lock. It's very difficult to bet these props in the afternoon because the chances that something doesn't happen in the next 6 hours are minimal, I would say. So just keep an eye on that. Certainly, again, you guys know the drill. You can head to Odd Shopper. It updates in real time. But I am interested to see. We've talked about a lot of different things. Where are you going for your lock it up? Are you going to one of the games tonight? Are you going to your Birds tomorrow? What's the deal here?
I was going back and forth. I was going to, and I don't know if this breaks the rules, but I was going to tail. Okay, good. We don't have any rules. I'll tell you what I'll do then. Since we don't have any rules, let me give you Berger's same game parlay. He's 2-1 over the last 3 weeks for his donkey parlay. Okay. Cousins longest completion 40+. Cook over 84.5 rushing yards. Fields 1+ interception gets you +370. Thoughts on that real quick before we get lock it up?
I mean, I don't think those are extremely correlated by any stretch, but I'd probably be on the same side of all 3. I really like the Cook one. I think he's going to have a very effective game. If Fields is dropping back a lot, chances are he'll throw a pick, and Cousins should have opportunities. I mean, we'll have to see what's up with Thielen. He him being okay and able to stretch the field would help a little bit, but Justin Jefferson's probably the guy that gets you there if there's a long pass in the game. So that would be the one I'd be most concerned about, but certainly has a chance.
Well, you mentioned if you ever get one of those free gift wrap bets here, then maybe a chance to take advantage of it. So I'm going to do just that. Get a little wacky here. All right. I'll tell you, I really do love the under first half, even at 23.5 for Monday night, the Vikings Bears game. And whatever the number is in this Raiders Browns game, I think the under is basically the main play here. So those two, I definitely like. I have no problem locking up the under first half for Minnesota and just the under as a whole for the Cleveland game. But a little bit of a stretch here, but I love it. And again, if you have a bonus pick, then use it, unwrap it, and use it now on yourself. No better gift to give than one to yourself. Vikings defense to score parlayed with Raiders defense to score plus 29.25 back. Let's get a little crazy, Ben, as we head into the holidays.
Yeah, that is a holiday type bet. I'll bring us back to reality.
You always do.
How did your teaser do? I don't even remember the teams that were in it.
Hold on a second now. I was all geeked up on that 3-leg parlay that, granted, I used on Odd Shopper. So, we don't talk a lot about this, as I kill some time here to bring up this parlay. We don't talk a lot about this, but Odd Shopper provides plenty of side total first half. Like, Odd Shopper provides a lot of game plays, and I think those are the ones that you should use to your advantage. So the Bengals, Ravens, +9, and over 42 for Jets, Dolphins. That was the big one that hit. The teaser was the Cowboys one, right?
Yeah, it was. I just didn't remember the teams.
Yeah, Packers money line, Cowboys -4.5, and then the Patriots, the stinking Patriots +8. So we were dead
That's a
before
tough
Sunday
scene.
hit.
I was happy to see them go down. Obviously,
Thank you. Thank you for being happy that my teasers.
I'm
crushed.
sorry. It's just business over here. I wanted Jonathan Taylor to slide because I had the Colts -2.5, and I didn't want anything really crazy to happen. He could have slid and they'd be taking knees, but he is quite good. All right, my lock it up before we get out of here. Talked about it a lot. To me, though, really one of the better props we've had, I'm going to say all year. Justin Fields over 17.5 completions is at +105. I don't understand why that's a slight dog. We have him projected for 21 completions. I think he's going to throw the ball 30 times. If he throws the ball 30 times, to get 18 completions is not even that good of a game. That's just a very standard output. That's 60% completion. He should be able to do that against this defense. Justin Fields, that number is just wrong in my book. Lock it up. Fields will be fine tonight, and the volume will get him there.
So real quick, just indulge me on the way out. And again, hit that thumbs up, please. Make sure you're subscribed. That's huge for us as we continue to build here. Ben mentioned there's new content coming up. Doesn't always mean live. There's constantly new content, educational, informative, betting stuff that we constantly have here. I just built this real quick based on our show today. So I want your thoughts on this because I think this has a realistic chance of a same game parlay. Cole Kmet 3+ receptions. That's
like
online with our projections.
Like
19+ Fields completions.
Like it.
5+ Mooney receptions.
I mean, it's correlated. I don't have a strong take on Mooney, but yeah, Allen Robinson's got COVID as well.
So you don't hate it, or you don't even
not
dislike
at all.
it?
That's definitely, is that it? Just those three?
No. I have two more for you.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook, 15+ receiving yards.
Like it.
Vikings money line.
Yeah. I mean, the story there is pretty clear that the Vikings get up in the game, hopefully because Dalvin Cook catches a long touchdown, but regardless, they get up in the game and it forces Justin Fields to have to drop back a lot. Montgomery is phased out. Fields is throwing the ball all over the place. Who's he throwing it to? Cole Kmet and Mooney. What is the payout? 4?
+675.
Yeah, that's a good number. I know it's 5 legs, but 3 of those legs are very, very, if Fields has 20+ completions, it's hard to think that Kmet and Mooney don't get there. And if those guys get there, now you're asking Dalvin Cook to get his done and the Vikings to win, which they are pretty sizable favorites. So again, same game parlays. That's a lot of fun, but I also think that's a pretty good number that you got there.
I just wanted to end in some sense of reality, grounded reality here. So you didn't think that my ridiculous plays earlier was all that I brought to the table.
No, that was a good way to end it. And last thing before we bet out of here, if you are new to same game parlays, Eytan has a video on this very channel breaking it down. I have one on the arbitrage tools. Check those out. Check everything out. Bowl season picks are here. All of the above. And again, on your way out, hit that like button, subscribe, friends. It's always good to talk to you guys. For me, for Eytan, from our man Mike behind the glass, good luck tonight. Enjoy that Monday night doubleheader. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Go Birds!
Yeah, go Birds. Why not?